What's up, guys? I'm SaltEMike, and this is your Star Citizen Week in Review for April 27th, 2026. The 4.8 Evo cycle is in full swing. We even have an item recovery test. 4.7.2 went live with new blueprints to chase. And Invictus, I mean Drake Defense Con is coming really soon. All that and more on today's Week in Review. And as always, if this is your first week in review, this is where I take all of the official Star Citizen news each week, put it into one video, and share some of my opinions about it. I also live stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/SaltEMike. So stop by and say hi if you haven't yet. We have a big show for you guys this week, but before we get to it, let me share with you today's sponsor. Thank you to VITURE for sponsoring today's video. VITURE sent out the VITURE Beast XR glasses. If you don't know what XR is, it's extended reality, which encompasses VR, augmented reality, mixed reality, and more into one platform. These take immersion to the maximum, and we all know how important that is around these parts and in this part of the gaming community. The Beast glasses are currently the largest display in XR at 58 degrees FOV, and the brightest, as it can go up to 1250 nits. It's also one of the smartest glasses with adjustable screen sizes, distances, electrochromic lenses, and ultra-wide or size mode options, which is really cool stuff. I use these for two different applications. Productivity was the first one. I wrote this entire script in bed on my laptop, but I never had to be hunched over because I was using the built-in Vision Pair 3 degrees of freedom motion tracking modes. It has 3 modes where it places the screen where I want it. I can be anchored in anchor mode and ensure for better posture. That's the one I'm using. Or you can have it follow your head around. I really like the smooth motion mode as it was a little less jarring. But I also used the glasses to game. I never realized how cool it would be to play Eve on my laptop in bed. It's compatible with any USB-C PC, phones, the Switch 2, and the Stream Deck. They also sent out this really sick controller, the VITURE Plus 8-bit Duo Ultimate 2C wireless controller, which works seamlessly with your Xbox, Windows PC, and Android devices. And it works out of the box with your VITURE XR glasses. Also, don't stress, glasses users. They have prescription lenses that you can pick up and easily attach so you won't be left out or needing to use contacts just to use the XR glasses. So if you're interested in checking out the VITURE Beast XR glasses, and I am sure you are, and you want to get 10% off, head over to the link in the description and get yourself 10% off. You have to experience these things for yourself, guys. Also, the Beast XR glasses are now available at both Amazon and Best Buy, so don't miss out. And with all the bills paid, let's jump into the patch notes. All right, and for patch notes, we start out on Monday with a 4.8 Evo Cadi. But again, this was something we actually covered last week because I was on vacation and I came back a day later. But I do want to make sure that we're back to our normal show schedule. So if you didn't watch the prior week, this is what happened in this week's Week in Review, right? The only focus here was the tactical strike groups, which is like this big epic mission thing that they highlighted at CitizenCon last year. But the main, I guess, things to check out was the not ready for feedback section that showed a ton of like what was supposed to be in 4.8, but like it's either not in or not ready for feedback. Then Tuesday, we get to see some more plans for the patch. Maybe this is on the launch of 4.8, or maybe like one of the 2-week cycles, like when this will actually drop. But the Xeno thread is back. Okay, I don't know how to feel about that. I feel like we've done the job with that. Who's next? The slicers are coming back, right? They have a progress tracker and rewards like normal events that we've seen in the past. But this one rewards blueprints to players, or a blueprint at least. Normally, this would sound pretty sick, but this blueprint goes to backers in their hangar. Right? So you would never lose those. It's account bound. Reminder, like this company sold ships for real money, which killed the progression path that could have been. Then they told us that crafting was their progression system. And now they're giving backers who backed the game early and are in alpha testing a head start on blueprints. Not sure what to think about that. It has to be a challenge to come up with rewards for events like these, but I hope we only keep the BP maybe during the alpha stage or something like that. Cosmetic rewards are probably the best to give in events like these for, hey, the I was there moment, post-release of, remember during this event in this test? Yeah, I have that cool skin for that. I think that's the best way to do this that doesn't cannibalize your gameplay post 1.0. They also did some balance updates for tactical strike groups and did a full audit on ships to make sure they're able to be editable. I assume this is in the Mobiglass app. Not entirely sure what this update entails, but it can't be a bad thing, I guess, right? Wednesday, we had 4.7.2 go live. This was a fairly uneventful patch, but for me, it was a big deal. It is widely understood that the P8SC is one of the best guns in the game, and being able to craft it would make it even stronger. So with the release of the patch, not only did they add some old missions back in and introduce some new ones, but some missions had the blueprints for some sought-after guns like that P8SC. So that's what I spent my week doing and earning them and crafting them. In terms of other missions, bombing runs are behind some Headhunters rep that I don't have, so I wasn't able to show you guys that. And for Nyx, I wasn't seeing any real updated missions. I'm not sure what's going on there, but like no career missions or any, like I just don't have them. So I don't know what's going on there and no way to earn them. I tried. So yeah, I know other people were having this issue too. So I'm assuming they'll fix it with a hotfix at some point. Saturday, 4.8 Evocati, we start out with the command module coming into the game. Kind of. Something we've known about for years is, well, I guess in the game in quotations, and is being tested with the Caterpillar, but the big change is, just basically how this is intended to work. I'm reading you the notes here, is when you're in SMP mode, which is system migration procedure, you're just not in control of the ship, and you're basically in auto-docking mode, essentially. Docking has been moved to right Alt-N, and there are a few weird things mentioned at the bottom where you only see the host engineering, like they're kind of telling you the outliers here. You can't undock from the host when you're docked to a station, and so on and so forth. Also, there was quite a few bugs fixed, but this isn't your typical like third or fourth PTU bug fix list. Instead of cleaning up things that is new content, they were cleaning up a lot of old stuff, like dealing with quality of life things, like really slow QT jumps around, or splines as they say, around planets, some refinery bugs and transport issues. So that's pretty cool. And then we had a Sunday Evocati, Saturday and a Sunday. What the heck? This specific patch is to test the new item recovery system. But this works basically exactly like we had it before, but with more steps. Now, I will say this. SEL with Benoit a few weeks, maybe a few months ago, was explaining that they were eventually going to create ships that you purchased in-game to become entitlements as if you purchased them on the website. I believe that's what this patch actually is checking that out, making sure there's not any bugs about that. Let me know in the comments if they've said anything. I haven't seen anything about that. Am I on the right track? I think that's definitely what's going on here, because it's essentially the same thing, but with more steps, like I said. And yeah, it's weird. So again, you have to manually choose to insure your ship now. This is called a snapshot for now. They're going to change the name at some point, apparently. And this comes with a cost for claiming, but it also appears to be an instant claim for me. So let me know what you guys think about that. I don't hate that part, but I do, because for many reasons, I've discussed it forever. If you don't want the ship with the snapshot, you then just wait out what would have been your claim timer. Missiles and ammo will not come back on claim anymore, so that's a redo of things that they've tried in the past. You will have now a limit of how many ships you can have stored at a given location. It's 25. That's a lot of ships. Most people don't have that many, so I don't think you're going to meet that cap. It's not how many ships you can own, how many ships you can have delivered to that location at any time. You now have to scrap a ship to remove it from that list. Not sure what game balance this is meant to achieve, to be honest, the 25 limit and the scrapping thing. Also, scrapping a ship does not delete its insurance claim. You just have that snapshot, and then you have to re-deliver it or reclaim it to that location. Ships/items now brick in 5 minutes, but this is just for testing the time. The time is, we don't know how long it'll take in the future. You cannot sell or salvage any salvaged ship components. So assuming this is anything other than stock on a ship in this build, but you can hull scrape. So this is not the final implementation. They made sure to say that. I have massive concerns with duping material with this system, but in this build, they put all the restrictions on to avoid having to deal with that for now. But also, it completely ruins salvaging of player ships and all sorts. So this is not good. This is not like the system. This obviously needs to be worked on. But yeah, it is the first implementation, and I think they just want to make sure these entitlement things work. Newsflash, I have a friend that I talked to right before this. Any ship that he purchased with in-game money, when he scrapped it, it literally disappeared. So it is not acting as if you have an entitlement. Lastly, the best change on the list is actually in the VMA, which is the Mobiglass app where you change your ship components. It now only shows ships that are able to be edited, not your entire list of ships, so you don't have to scroll forever. So kudos, thumbs up to that. That's awesome. And that's our patches for this week. So still 4.8 Evo, no Wave 1. They tried to go Wave 1 the entire week, and we're not able to. So then they pushed and pushed and pushed over the weekend, and we'll see what happens. With that, we do have a pretty interesting roadmap update, so let's go and check that out. All right, and they start out with the missions being added to 4.7.2 we just spoke about, so nothing more to add here. It's just them updating the roadmap and making sure everything is organized properly. And then we got some updates on 4.8. We got the crossbows image updated, and it looks how it's looked forever, so no big deal there. Also, remember, this is meant to be silent and as well, so like this will be a very interesting weapon, very different from anything we've experienced most likely. And on Reddit, Zach said it was going to hurt. So I expect this thing to be pretty meta when it comes in, but maybe challenging to use, perhaps. They do mention this weapons art refactor, but I can never tell when they do these, the difference between the guns before and after. So yeah, they're going to look better. Let me know what you guys think. If they do or if they don't, that card is currently tentative. And the next card is also tentative. It is the new flight suit. This is meant to bring in the new G-force reducing mechanic to the suit as well. And yeah, so combat pilots and racing pilots likely won't be in heavy armor anymore. And it looks like, it looks awesome. It's futuristic, but also so present. It makes you feel like Maverick. So I really like the look. It reads so well, it's perfect. And lastly, item recovery vehicle loadouts. Again, this is a weird one. I replied on Spectrum about this, about the duping thing that I discussed earlier. And yeah, it did get a lot of traction, but as stated earlier, they placed a band-aid on the current patch to focus on more basic bugs with the system in the first build. Totally makes sense. My issues around duping are not addressed in the Evo notes, not addressed here in Roadmap Roundup or anywhere yet, but are likely to be by the end of the PTU cycle. So that was Roadmap updates. Yeah, 4.8 is looking very interesting. Obviously, tactical strike groups is a huge mission type. Xeno threat, all these things coming in are quite a big deal. So I expect to see in our next roadmap update more of that stuff get added to it. But with that, we have a very small video update, but we are going to break it down a little bit. All right, and the only video we got this week was something that I think Jared was recording instead of doing ISC or SCL, as he alluded last week, was this Drake Defense Con. I'm calling it a hashtag ad because it's a short little ad for the ship sale event that's coming up, but it's very different from previous years. Invictus isn't really happening. We're only getting Drake Defense Con, but we get some details here.
This time he's taking aim at the UEE and Invictus Launch Week's abrupt retreat to Sol.
And hey, we're proud, real proud, to welcome all manufacturers. No hidden agenda, no glossy bait. Even if a certain heavily armored silhouette just happens to overshadow the ironclad, that's not the point.
According to the divisive CEO, DefenseCon 2956 will be going ahead bigger than ever, with a full roster of manufacturers previously scheduled to be at Invictus.
This is for the independents, the haulers, the homesteaders, the freelancers, the ones who don't get flyovers.
So it is Invictus, but they want some weird storyline going on about Sol and backing out of the Stanton system. And if you didn't catch it, they're doing their best to remind everyone that they're going to sell another massive image of a ship, but not make it available anytime soon. Oh, and the Ironclad. But yeah, we have Invictus still, as they kind of showed who would be there, and it's all the ship manufacturers that you would expect. Just I expect a similar experience, but with different flair and maybe some fire and stuff. Cool. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about this, and if there's any ship that you're really excited for that might be coming. Apparently, 2 alien ships, and it sounds like there's going to be some pretty cool stuff there. So we'll see. With that, let's move on to pretty short other updates. All right, now as always, we start out with the sneak peek, and if it wasn't already obvious, the caption read, "Filler up." So this is the new refueling ship that they told us about. What we didn't know was the manufacturer, and I think it's very obvious what it is now. This is a MISC ship based on the yellow light on the cockpit dash and the interior look. Part of me wished this was from a different company, but maybe this will help inform an impending Starfarer rework or something like that one day. And another thing that is definitely worth noting here is it's a single-seater. It appears to be based off of either the Hull A platform or maybe something similar to the Prospector. Obviously, it's not the Prospector with it doesn't like have that hanging down chair or anything, it doesn't look like, but it looks like it will probably be a familiar exterior of some kind. What the liquid containers will look like, I don't know. This is it. I'm more interested on the exterior than I am on the interior of the ship, and I'm usually interested in the interior of the ship because that's where you spend your most time. I don't spend a lot of time in third person, but very interested in this ship and what they plan on doing with refueling. It is in testing in Evo Cati. My understanding is it's completely dumbed down from what we had before. No, metering how much fuel goes through and doing any damage or anything like that. Then we'll end with dev posts. The first post is from Jared. Some people were asking about the Shiv and if it will be available and on sale again soon. He did say yes, and more. So this likely means more ships from Grays soon, maybe at Invictus. I think it's a very cool new manufacturer, and I think it's a way better way to represent what a realistic future might look like with shipbuilding, that kind of strapped together modded way of doing things that we see in sci-fi so often and is, I think, beloved, right? The second post is Niku letting us know the status of many things that were not on the roadmap, like Genesis and social tools, but it also shares that the insurance update on the roadmap is not item recovery T1, so expect more details on that soon. All right, so recording this early Monday morning because the patch just literally came out 4 hours ago. It wasn't just a Sunday patch, it was a 2 a.m. Sunday patch. Guys, this is burning me out to do week in review and my editor a little bit. I'm not complaining about that. What do the devs feel like having to release a patch on a Sunday at 2 a.m.? What's going on at this company? That's so weird to me. Just wait until Monday afternoon. I don't get it. It's just a few hours. So yeah, that one's a weird one to me. Let people sleep. It's very clear, like the regions that people live in, that there's like a good time to release where they're awake and can monitor things and everything. So yeah, I don't work in a dev studio. I don't know how any of this stuff works, but to me that feels odd. But yeah. That is this week's Week in Review. Let me know what you guys think. Subscribe if you enjoyed the show. Hit the like button if you enjoyed it as well. And I'll catch you guys next week, hopefully with some actual video of 4.8.